Hey, are you thinking of buying a rental with an FHA loan, one that you can convert while you're living there, either into a rental or maybe right after you move out into a rental? Well, I want to share with you three reasons why you may want to reconsider that loan product before you house hack that property. Hey, I'm Ryan. I want to share with you information that's going to make you a smarter investor and homeowner. All right, let's talk about FHA loans. These are great products. They are government supported loans, essentially letting you put as little as 3.5% down on that property, and you may even get a little better interest rate. So, what's the catch if it's such a great product? We like them because it definitely helps first time homebuyers, especially, get into a primary home without having to save up so much money as a down payment. But there are some significant downsides to using an FHA loan, especially if you want this property to become a rental property. All right, let's talk about the first reason, and it's not what you think. I'm not going to talk about PMI, which is private mortgage insurance. That comes with every FHA loan because you're not putting 20% down, but it also comes with conventional loans as well. And so the first reason is simply you're going to have a high mortgage balance. And so the less money you put down, the more you're going to owe in debt. So let's say you buy a $350,000 property, you're going to owe about $330,000 of that as a mortgage. And so that means your payment is higher. The expense to you month over month is higher, whether you're able to rent that property or not. And so just having to carry a higher debt load makes it harder over time to occupy or run that property as a rental. The second reason is because you have that high mortgage, it basically eliminates your chance for any decent cash flow on that property, not only now, but maybe even for decades to come. And the reason is once you start at a certain mortgage balance, it's going to, or a mortgage payment, other than refinancing, the debt level is going to stay at that level the whole time you're owning that loan. So give you a good example. Let's say you buy a property again, 350, you still owe 330. Well, even if rents trickle up a little bit, your mortgage doesn't drop as you make those payments. The payment you locked in at closing is going to stay that same payment for the life of the loan. So it makes it incredibly hard to cash flow. In Austin right now, we're a difficult cash flow market. This is one of the places where if you come right now, you want to buy a single family house, at minimum, you need to put down 40 or even 50% just to break even on cash flow if you're trying to do that in year one. Imagine how bad or how negative your cash flow is going to be if you're only putting 3.5% down. So, number two, to me, it's terrible if your goal is to get that property to cash flow. And finally, it immediately puts you underwater. Let me explain what that means. If you get that property at 350 and you owe 330, wait a second, if I sell the property, 2 months later for 350, I have 20% equity, right? Wrong. You owe at minimum for most sellers, you're going to have anywhere from 6 to 10% in closing costs when you sell a property. For example, you may have a listing broker. That broker may want to contribute funds to help with a buyer broker. You're going to have title policy and closing costs. You're going to have prorated property taxes that you have to pay to that buyer. And on top of that, that's assuming the buyer's giving you a full price offer. What if they want a little bit of a discount, or they ask you for repairs, or they ask you for closing cost credits? And on top of that, when you're a seller, even before you list that property, you may have to spend a little bit of money to get that property ready for sale. So you're immediately underwater. If you had to turn around and sell that property, you're going to owe more than you're going to be able to net at closing. That puts you underwater. Right now, this is August 2024. We have seen not a lot, but we've definitely seen a decent number of short sales in the market. We're seeing these in some of our outlying suburbs, and the vast majority of them are people who used an FHA or VA loan. They purchased a property in the peak of the pandemic, so they bought it here. The property's only worth here, but their mortgage is still up here, and they don't have 40, 50, 60, $80,000 to bring to closing and pay off that mortgage balance that they own. To me, that is the most significant risk when you're not putting a lot of money down. It's fine if the market's going up, but it's extremely risky if the market is going down. I hope this was helpful. Obviously, we are supporters of the FHA and VA loan products. There are times when those products are great, and especially if you're going to stay in the home a long time, it gives you time to build up that equity without having to bring a lot of money down. But if you're planning to make it a cash flow rental and you want it to be cash flow positive sooner than later, I would think twice, consider saving up and putting more money down on that property.